Saudi Arabia is a country that is still not really popular amongst a lot of people. And anytime I tell people that I'm in Saudi Arabia, many of them seem shocked. And that's because of the perception they have about the country. The commonest things they complain about are the street rules in Saudi Arabia. And that's true. There are rules. But many times, these things are being exaggerated. Being someone that has been in Saudi Arabia for 3 years now, as at the time of recording this video, I'm going to share with you 10 common rules that you should obey or you should observe when you're coming to Saudi Arabia, either moving to work or to visit. This will help you to properly blend in, and you have a proper idea too, as per based on experience. So if this is something you're interested in, let's dive in. The first rule is the prayer time that's being observed. So, if you're not a Muslim, you should be aware that Muslims pray 5 times in a day. And during those prayer times, usually shops are being closed to observe the prayers. And the Friday prayer is usually the longer one that's being held in the afternoon. So, during those times, the shops are being locked. Don't be surprised to find out that you're sitting in a shop and it's prayer time. They will insist that you go out. They usually will ask you to leave. If you are someone that's going to stay there for a long time, someone like me as a Christian actually struggle, but now I'm getting familiar with the prayer times because I find out that I could just stand up randomly to go and get something at the shop and find out that the shop is being locked also. So it made me to be quite observant about the prayer times. But all the same, some essential stores are being kept open, like pharmacies and hospitals. Those ones run 24/7, so you don't tend to go out and find them being locked. So please, when you're moving into Saudi Arabia, you should be very conscious of this, as it will help you. Don't worry, nobody's going to flog you because you're not going into prayer or something like that. As it's been said, and based on my experience, the people here are very, very tolerant. They are quite social and very friendly, so don't worry about you not being a Muslim and then they'll be looking at you with bombastic side eyes. No, that doesn't happen at all. The second rule is please dress decently. Usually the requirement is that whatever you're wearing should cover your shoulders, your hands, and your legs. And yeah, women are not being forced to cover their hair compared to before. However, many people still practice that. However, for foreigners and non-Muslims, these things are not really applicable. Even these citizens, some of them still choose not to cover their faces or cover their hair. It's okay. But in the same way, they are decently dressed. So please, when you're coming into the country, make sure that you're decently dressed and you're not wearing anything provocative or revealing at all. Please respect the practices here at all. So if you're someone that loves revealing things, which is okay based on your upbringing, and based on where you come from, when you're coming here, please look for things that are going to cover everything. I'm not just talking to the women, but the men also. The next rule is avoid PDA. For medical doctors or medical personnel, it's not pitting doctors' activities, it's public display of affection, even as a married couple. So there's nothing like kissing, hugging, all those lovey-dovey that you find couples doing here. No, we don't do that. I've seen a couple of couples hold hands, but nothing more than that. It's something like the society really frowns upon. So if you want to be all lovey-dovey, just keep it to the confines of your house. Yeah. The next rule is concerning alcohol. Alcohol is prohibited in Saudi Arabia. It's totally prohibited. So if you're being caught with alcoholic drinks, even if you don't drink it, or you're being caught drunk, it's something very serious. Depending on the severity, you can be fined, put in jail, flogged publicly, or even deported as a foreigner. So alcohol is a no-no. If you're someone that cannot spend a couple of days without taking alcohol, Saudi Arabia is not a place you should come to because you're not going to find it. And if you happen to smuggle alcohol into the country, you will be caught and it's a serious offense. So please, alcohol is a no-no in Saudi Arabia. There might be some Middle Eastern countries that have places for that, but till date, as at the time of recording this video, Saudi Arabia does not tolerate alcohol at all. We move to the next one, which is closely related to the fourth, and that's drugs. Please don't do drugs. Doing drugs is a very serious crime here, and usually if you are caught selling drugs, the punishment is usually capital punishment, is death. So please don't think about it. It's frowned upon. It's a very serious thing here. So please, drugs, no. The next one is, as much as possible, avoid making physical contact with members of the opposite sex. Yes, that is something that's very serious. The people mind, especially people from here, mind. So please be very careful. Something like shaking of hands or hugging, no. Please avoid that. In fact, if you can, avoid even talking to members of the opposite sex, except it's in a formal setting. Maybe you're in the hospital, or in the receptionist or the health worker you're meeting is a member of the opposite sex. But anything social, as much as possible, try that. If you need help or direction, try to meet somebody that's of the same gender with you to ask around. That helps to a large extent. Then the next is about the holy sites. That's Mecca and Medina. It is strictly for Muslims. So if you're a non-Muslim, please don't go around that place. It's a very serious offense to be found there as a non-Muslim. In fact, during Hajj, you need a permit even as a Muslim for you to go over to these holy sites. If you are found without a permit, it's a serious thing. You could be fined heavily for that, and you might also face time behind jail. So please, as a non-Muslim, this is not something that should be in your mind at all. Avoid going to Mecca or Medina. The other places I could visit, very fun places as a non-Muslim, but these two places, please avoid them. Then the next one is actually a social issue, and it's about the use of your left hand. Please avoid eating with your left hand in public, especially when you're eating together with people. And that's because here the left hand is associated with some dirty or dishonorable activities like cleaning the athletics in the toilet or picking rubbish. So you now using that same hand to eat with people or shake hands with people is something that is being seen as dirty or condescending. So if you're a left-handed person and you want to visit Saudi Arabia, just learn to eat with your right hand, and then try to make sure that you consciously learn to shake with your right hand and also give people thanks with your right hand. It's more of a social perception. Some people wouldn't mind, but quite a lot would. So this is something that you should be quite conscious of, especially when you're mixing with people around. It's closely related to the previous point is be respectful, especially to the elderly ones. Here, the elders are really looked upon with respect. So you could see an elderly one coming in and everyone will stand up and reserve the seat for the elderly person. It's something that is quite common here. But in other countries, they really don't send, they really don't mind and those kind of things. But here, please be respectful. It goes a long way. Then the last point for this video, which is the 10th point, is that when we're taking photos or making a video, if it's going to involve some people, try to make sure you take permission and they are okay with it before you do that. This goes hand in hand with respect for the privacy of people. You don't just take pictures of people. No, it's not okay. And then also, there are certain places that taking pictures is totally prohibited. Such places include government buildings, military bases, some private areas that are considered sensitive. So please make sure that before you remove your phone or remove your camera to do anything, ask people around for their permission. Also ask if it's okay for you to cover or take pictures of this, because if you're being caught, it's something that could really bring about serious consequences. So that's all for today's video. I hope that this video was very helpful. I would likely create another video covering some areas that are not touched when it comes to these rules. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to subscribe and you enjoy what I do, please subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Thank you, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.